Good morning and welcome back to the channel. We got some rain a little ways back there, and it's kind of just barely sprinkling here. Happy Friday to everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome back to the channel, and I'm glad you guys are tuning in. It is 84 degrees outside. Got some cloud coverage, and I hope we get more moisture. I got some bags of hay cubes, alfalfa cubes, and I just put them in the garage. I'm glad I did, otherwise it would have gotten wet. But I think I may put them in some large bags this afternoon just in case it rains. But yeah, it's a nice day. Supposedly there's going to be a ton of people traveling this weekend, not only at the airport, but on the highways. Ouch, it's a bit colder. So if you're traveling, be sure to check your tires, take some water, some tools, and leave early enough so you have plenty of time and you're not rushing. Drive safe. I'm not sure who's all headed out of town. All I know is the fishing report for the Hopi Nation is pretty sad these days, because the last time we went up, Beaver Dam was actually all, I didn't see any water in there. It's just mostly all vegetation. Fishing, don't go there. Sorry about that. It's starting to sprinkle again here, which is good. Always could use the moisture. I like how some of the housing areas have some areas that retain the water that comes off the streets in their neighborhood. It lets it soak into the ground rather than it just letting it drain all into, down wherever it goes. We need to make more of those out home, even just little ones around the house. That way, especially when your field is, let the water, whatever water is coming through, make a little reservoir with an overflow spout so it doesn't burst at once. But yeah, that's what's going on. Let's go see what's happening in the news today.
A rise in threats against schools during the month of September. And Eleni, this was based on police stats, so what did you find?
They gave me some numbers that date back to 2018, and it showed that generally September, they did see a report in more school threats. And then obviously, as we all heard and remembered, last fall in 2024, September, there were a series of threats that happened across the valley. And Phoenix police said that they saw 83 threats, which is the most of all of the all those years dating back to 2018.
You mentioned that threat that was going around on social media last year in September. My wife is a district teacher in the Paradise Valley School District. My kids go to school in the Paradise Valley School District. She decided to keep the kids home in that one particular instance, but there's been another recent social media theme going around, and she said, no, I feel like the administration has addressed that, and the kids are going to school on this one. We're seeing it come in all sorts of forms, though, right? Social media and also kids talking to each other?
It's kids talking to each other. A lot of it is social media and things resurfacing, and police and school districts are trying to tell students not to repost these things. And Phoenix police say that they do understand that kids want to spread awareness, but it's causing a lot more harm. And like you said earlier, your wife wanting to keep your kid at home. The school district said after that threat that they saw earlier this week or a few days ago, they lost a third of their student body because they didn't want to go to school out of worry, and that's disrupting the school environment, and that is not something that they want.
You know, it's so interesting because there are so many levels to these threats. There's the threat of school violence. There are these hazing problems that we're seeing on occasion that pop up. And then there are also these swatting incidents at universities. And it's hard to kind of keep track of who is responsible, why does this keep happening, and, you know, what can you do to stop it?
Yeah, a lot of it is just, you know, they're trying to push not reposting the things that you see on social media. Swatting calls are a little bit, excuse me, more difficult. But Phoenix Police told me that a lot of the threats that they did see last fall originated from the Valley, and they're taking all of this very seriously. They're taking it as credible before anything and trying to be cautious. But a lot of it, they say that they would be credible. And in these cases where they did find who the threat originated from, they are taking action and arresting these students for these crimes. And they are also finding them as well, which they are able to do. And there were two situations last fall that where students were making threats and they fined those students.
We're talking with ABC 15's Eleni Dow. She had a story recently about how September tends to see a rise in school violence threats. Did Phoenix Police offer any clues as to why it happens? You went to high school here in the Valley. I went to high school in Arizona. I don't remember this happening particularly often at all. Is it because old beefs have been rekindled in the first month of school? Any clues?
They can't. Police at least can't exactly say why it happens more a month after school starts. They think maybe kids are getting a little bit more comfortable into the school year. But they do see a rise in certain times, like September, and then they do see a rise in times where students are supposed to do testing. And on Thursdays as well, they said, because sometimes the students think that they can get out of school on Fridays. And then the school district, Paradise Valley Unified, was saying that they also see a trend in more discipline needing to happen in September as well. And they do think it's because students possibly are, now more comfortable into the school year a month after school starts. And they think that's possibly why, but it's hard to pinpoint exactly why that happens more often in September.
That's ABC 15's Eleni Dow with a story about how Phoenix police tend to see a rise in threats made to schools in the month of September.
All right, coming up on Arizona's Morning News, it has been 20 years since Hurricane Katrina devastated New Orleans. We'll take a look back.
First, let's get a look at those roads live from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center with John Roller.
Yeah, LaDonna, well, if you're coming in from the East Valley, you may come across some puddles and some damp roadways. I'm taking a look at the 60 out near Gilbert Road. And yeah, you've got some wet roadways this morning. Might be a little slick for you. Taking a little extra slow this morning to start your Friday morning off. Here in town, have a couple of crashes in the clearing stages. Let's start in the downtown area, eastbound I-10, just prior to the mini stack right there at the 51. And the eastbound I-10 had a crash that was blocking the left lanes. Looks to be in the clearing stages, so only a moderate backup as you come out of the Deck Park Tunnel. And then up ahead, we had a very serious crash on the eastbound Loop 202 Red Mountain Freeway right near 40th Street. That too is off to the left and in the clearing stages, so looking much better. We are working a crash involving PD in Scottsdale this morning, Thomas Road, just west of Hayden, and also have some down power lines in the north part of the city, 7th Avenue and Missouri. That's the half-miler between Camelback and Bethany Home Road. John Lower, KTAR News.
After this morning shower, sunshine for the weekend for the most part. A high of 104 today, 107 tomorrow, and 108 on Sunday. Weather brought to you by Howard Air and Plumbing.
Hey, it's LaDonna. Do you need your sink fixed? Maybe you got a drip or something. Maybe you need...
But this year, Panther Field will sound much different. After the end of the 2024 football season, the school realized they had a problem.
We started looking at how many players we might actually be able to field, and it became increasingly obvious that we were not going to be able to have enough to have a team.
That's Paul Trzynski, the head of Wichita Independent School. and they needed at least 15 to 20 students for this season, but not enough of them signed up.
It was a very sad decision to have to make. And we were really worried about what will it do to morale? What will it do to the life of the high school?
Wichita Independent is a K-12 school with less than 400 students, and only 76 of them are in high school. For senior class president Jack Rowe, it was about much more than losing any game.
As a senior, football, Friday Night Lights, it's a major part of any school year. The senior class has a lot of band members and a lot of cheerleaders, and without football, they wouldn't have anything to do this fall.
Rowe worked with junior class president Ben Sackett to find a way to fill those Friday nights.
It was kind of immediately just like, how can we preserve all of these great things about football, even if it can't be actual football?
And Panther Night Lights was born. Instead of football games every week, the school will host a series of games and activities for students, faculty, and the community to participate in.
Things like slip and slide kickball, for example, which I think are not only fun to play, but are going to be really funny and entertaining to watch, are going to be some of the best activities we can possibly have.
Wichita Independent School's situation is not unique. A 2024 report from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services says the number of school-age kids playing sports dropped by roughly 5% between 2017 and 2022. The report says barriers to kids playing sports include time constraints and social pressure. For rural communities in particular, the decline has to do with access to facilities, programs, and opportunities, says David Javoltowski with the University of Nebraska College of Public Health.
The rural issue versus urban issue really is more subtle in the sense of what does that community offer? What are the opportunities? And then given those opportunities, is there incentives for kids to participate or not?
In the last few years, Javoltowski observed a trend in rural communities where sports are really an option only for kids whose families can afford it in money and time.
But your typical child who just wants to participate for recreation reasons is probably not getting the opportunities or the pathway to get more involved.
Back at Wichita Independent School, Jack Rose says he's ecstatic that Panther Night Lights will be available to everyone.
I think what I'm most excited for is the opportunity for these kids that aren't really the best at like big sports like football or basketball to be able to go under the Panther Night Lights and compete in a friendly and competitive way, and the opportunity and joy that it'll bring them.
Rose says he's excited to make new, different memories under the Friday Night Lights. Ben Abrams, NPR News.
Remembering those who block.
50 years, this voice has been a constant at Baltimore Orioles home games.
Bill, man, you might need a grill. Hey, Bill, man, you might need a beer.
Clarence Haskett, also known as Fancy Clancy, has been a vendor at Orioles games since 1974. Haskett came to StoryCorps with fellow beer vendor Jerry Collier to remember how it all began.
My very first day, I was still in high school, and I don't know why I remember this, but I made $8.25.
Near 40th Street, one crash in Scottsdale this morning, this involving PD, Thomas Road just west of Hayden. John Roller, KTAR News.
We're seeing a few little storms rolling through this morning. Some thunderstorms, decent amount of rain. Otherwise, look for sunny skies later today with a high of 104. Sunny and 107 Saturday, 108 on Sunday, 106 on Monday. Weather brought to you by Howard Air and Plumbing. Whether replace or repair, call Howard Air and Plumbing.
And coming up on Arizona's Morning News at 5:30, we try to help you navigate Sky Harbor if this is a getaway day for you. Plus, we got to talk about the roads as well, right?
And right now, it's time for sports with Brandon King from the Parker & Sons Heating Cooling.
Looks like we're getting more sprinkles up here. Thank you. Please. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great day. Be safe. Make it a productive one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hope you're headed out.